So as you can see here, I'm a top collector and a top maker. This is my desk that I work from mostly during the day. And yeah, I play with these tops all the time. I really enjoy that. But I wanted to do a quick video here about performance and some other factors and how they contribute to the value of spinning tops in the market. I see a lot of complaints online about, tops that have poor performance shouldn't be so expensive. People shouldn't even sell these things or whatever. And if you're saying that, there's some things that I think you don't get. So I want to kind of explain that, right? There are factors that offset performance when it comes to the cost of things, right? Performance is only one thing. This right here is good performance. This is a lambda top known for good performance. And what we mean by that is we mean long spin times and this stick straight, stability. A lot of people won't buy a top if it doesn't spin like that. And I think those people are missing out on a whole lot of the market that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, there are a lot of cool tops that you can get to do spin like that. If you spin them halfway decent. Right? That's a David Kemner top, and it spins really, really well, as do the rest of his, right? They're machined metal tops with carbide bearings or ceramic bearings or whatever, and they spin really well. Pretty much as good as that one. But that's not the only thing that matters. So the other things that matter, and I think some of this should be pretty obvious to folks, is the craftsmanship and artistry that goes into a top, right? The straight up fun factor of a top, and the cost, like the raw cost of making it and getting the materials and all that, and the time that you spend to make it. So all three of those things, I think, offset performance when you're talking about value, right? Most tops on the market don't have performance like this. It's a simple fact. Almost all the tops that are on the market have performance less than the lambda, right? But you might still consider them to have perfect performance for within their design, right? Here's an example. This top has a lot of air resistance, but it's very well made. It has very great performance. It's difficult to get long spin times out of it because of all that air resistance, right? And it wobbles. It never really stabilizes because it kind of doesn't spin long enough. It'll maybe stabilize a little bit. There you go. That's pretty good. But then it falls over right away. So, that's performance limited by the design, right? Same thing with forever spin tops. They're almost perfectly balanced, and so they have great performance, limited by the design, right? They don't have the spin times that the Lambda has because they have a higher center of gravity, and because they don't have a bearing point, right? But their performance is as good as it can be within this design. You can go buy tops that are made by other companies that are this shape, this exact design, which is copied from that movie. You're like, this design's been around forever. But you can go get bad versions of this on the market. They're not straight and not balanced and won't spin right. Okay? Hopefully you pay less for that than you would from Forever Spin. But, you know, performance, there's a range of performance that you've got to consider to be as perfect as it can be within that design. Right? So, performance, you know, it isn't everything, and there's a range that you have to look at, which is you've got to consider perfect. Glass tops are similar, right? Almost all glass tops have a little bit of wobble to them because it's just a kind of a limitation of the material and the design. So yeah, that one's got a little bit of wobble, but this very, very, very well made glass top. So enough about performance and what I think you should accept in as far as performance goes. So the other things that I talked about that offset the value of performance are obviously craftsmanship and artistry, right? The lambda top, you know, there's some craftsmanship and artistry there. But it's a low level, right? And these tops are churned out on machines, probably mostly automated, you know, by the hundreds. So that, you know, the craftsmanship and artistry level there is low. You know, no offense to this top because it's great. But that's it. The craftsmanship and artistry aren't at the level of this one, which is made by a famous artist, Sue Ellen Fowler, who's been blowing glass for 1,000,000 years, right? I would buy almost anything made by Sue Ellen Fowler for whatever price she wants to charge for it, because of who she is and because of the artistry and craftsmanship. Now, if it was Sue Ellen Fowler and the artistry and craftsmanship wasn't there, that would be different, right? I'm not just paying for the name. This is a beautiful top. So that offsets the performance, which is okay on these, but these glass tops, they wobble a little bit, right? And it was considerably more expensive than the Lambda because of that craftsmanship and artistry that goes into it. Right? That's an obvious thing. That's one that I made that I think has a fairly decent artistry factor. Right? But in the case of this one, the performance offsets that. And I don't think I'm even gonna sell that one. It spins okay. Right? But so you gotta look at that, you know. Artistry and craftsmanship, it matters. And sometimes it's kind of everything. When the performance is wobbly and you're still paying over $100, right? You're paying for artistry and craftsmanship. The other thing that I think goes into a top that's super important is that fun factor that I talked about, right? Now I've got some freaking wacky tops here that have a high fun factor. Let me see if I can even spin this one right. No, I can't. Hang on. There we go. It's a UV reactive top. It likes to spin, likes to pirouette a lot. So that's really cool to look at, right? Shitty performance, but the fun factor is there. So I'm gonna actually make some more of those. Even though they don't spin really long, they look cool. You know? So you really have to consider that. The fun factor on this one's pretty high, but it's tricky to spin. The fun factor for this one is you can blow on it with a straw. You can make it spin a little faster and you can kind of keep it going. Right? A lot of tops have that feature if they have a lot of air resistance around the edges like that one. So again, that's kind of what makes this top more expensive. High artistry and craftsmanship, high fun factor, pretty good performance, right? And then this is an example of my last factor as well, which is the cost of manufacturing and cost of materials, right? This is copper and blued steel, and it's got a ceramic tip, and this is a bitch to machine, right? That ain't easy. I don't know how you actually hold this. I bet you need an inside collet or something to even create this shape in the first place, right? So you know, the cost that goes into the design and the materials here is a huge factor. And I don't remember the price of this top, but it's in the higher end, but totally worth it. Again. So I think that folks need to stop looking at performance and understand that there's room in the market for all of this kind of stuff. Right? And I want to also say, you know, there's room in the market for tops made by beginners, right? That might not be so good. You know, here's an example, right? This one I'm not selling. All the tops that I'm selling are packaged up and they're away. I don't play with them, but performance is okay on this one. Artistry is, I'm not a fan of it, but it's there, right? So that performance is not bad. It's like a little scratchy against the mirror or something, but you know, again, you gotta allow for that with new artists especially. And this lowers the cost, of course, right? I'm not gonna charge as much for a top like that as I would if I happened to make one that was like this. Maybe several years down the line, right? This is where I want to be. But for now, you know, there's room in the market for maybe not this quality level, but a lower quality level from beginning artists. And you need to support makers, right, who are out there making this kind of stuff and they're proud of what they made. Now, again, I'm not selling that one. It's not worth it, but like, you know, I bought this top right here because it's an unusual material and because I simply like the person that made it. Right? It's lightweight, it's well made, so it has pretty good performance. But I think because it has a small contact point, right, it never really stabilizes unless you spin it perfectly straight to begin with. But that's what you get in the market, right? This is from an artist I like. You know? Here's another example. There's a spinning top you can download and print yourself on a 3D printer. Right? It's free. There's a little craftsmanship in that, right? Somebody designed that. I designed this wacky looking top. Actually, I designed this, right? I don't charge any money for that design. If somebody wanted me to print one and send it to them, I would charge for that, but, you know, 3D printed spinning tops have terrible performance. The only reason that one runs decent is because I trued it up on my lathe. So you need to allow for this in the market. You're gonna come across this. Now I would hope that makers would hold back stuff like this. That's, you know, like I made a mistake with that. That's just not what I wanted. The stem's too thin, right? And makers maybe should even hold back stuff like that. That's a pretty top, but it's got a little bit of haze in the glass. This is soft glass, so I can't fix that. Right? If that was borosilicate, I could fix that. Which I would do, and then I'd probably sell this for 10 or 15 bucks, right? I'm not gouging you on this. This is beginner work here. But it's a decent top, and it's pretty. So that's what you get. You know, there's room for all this in the market, and I think people really need to stop harping on performance as the only thing that matters. It's not. Now, most people obviously know that, but I don't think a lot of people offset performance enough with these other factors, right? These other factors are worth more than you think. Cost of materials and time to produce. Fun factor is huge for me. I love tops that are fun but have lousy performance. So there you go, and that's just an opinion, but that's the name of the game today. I'm putting my opinion out there. Thanks for listening. Make your comments. Say whatever you have to say. You know, and go buy some of my tops from Etsy or some marbles or something. For cheap.